This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. Now you might be asking, Justin, did you forget to take the scary music out of your intro? No, I did not. Because it's still spooky season, because do you know what tomorrow is? One of the craziest fucking elections in the history of this country. It is election eve, and for a political wonk like myself, it's like Christmas. I'm going to be on the air 6 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Time, until 6 a.m., or until a winner is declared. And more than likely, I'm going to be pulling the marathon, and the sun's going to be coming up, because we are probably not going to know a winner tomorrow night. Now, on tonight's show, we are going to discuss all the ways that the GOP plans to try to steal the election tomorrow. Straight from the horse's mouth. I have them saying it. We're also going to talk about the violence being caused by Trump supporters. They blocked a road up in New York, New Jersey. They tried to run a Biden bus and staffer off the road. Plus, we're going to be talking about the Breonna Taylor case in Louisville. We've got some breaking news in that. As well as the Kentucky State Police has been caught up in a little bit of a scandal. And as we're coming on the air, it appears that the commissioner of the Kentucky State Police is stepping down. I wonder if it has anything to do with this scandal. You're not going to believe what they were teaching cadets. Plus, I have a video that's supposed to be an introduction to an awakening. It's supposed to wake us right up. That's how we're going to end the show. We're going to watch one of these videos that's supposed to wake us up to what the agenda of the globalists is. I can't wait for that. I haven't watched it yet. I just saw a QAnon type motherfucker share it out and say that this is the perfect introduction. So I was like, if it's the perfect introduction, it's probably the perfect video to play on my show. Now, before we do all that, you guys may know about the stalker that I've had for 5-6 weeks now. I affectionately refer to him as Poop Boy. He followed me over to Echoplex Media last week. He's made threats against me. He's told me that he was going to make an account and portray me as a child molester. And I have receipts for all this. But after he followed me over to Echoplex, I had a little conversation with him. He and we decided that we were going to get together. And if you will give me the opportunity right now, I'm going to see if I can get him on the line. And we've got an interview with the infamous Poop Boy. Are you guys ready for this? Ladies and gentlemen, on the phone, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. I've been plugging it for a couple of nights. We have now joining us on the program, Daniel James Bateman, better known as Poop Boy. Poop Boy, what is going on?
Now, Daniel Bateman will do just fine.
What, you don't like being called Poop Boy?
I don't like to talk about it, okay?
Why don't you like to? No. You have sent me, 1,500, 2,000 pictures of poop over the last couple months. So apparently you do enjoy poop very much, right?
I've been known to play around with it a little bit.
Play around with it? What?
You know.
Do you have a poop fetish?
I always wanted to get pooped on, but Brittany will never ever do it.
She won't do it. I'm so man. I'm not one to kink shame, dude. If you want to be pooped on, I believe that your girlfriend should totally poop on you.
Well, she won't. I mean, like, it's ruining our whole relationship. I can't even get it up anymore. Let me give you a picture of poop real quick.
I'm really sorry to hear that. No. You sent me enough pictures of poop. Now, that picture, you...
One favorite picture.
I know you've got one picture of poop that you keep sending over and over again. Now, is that your own dookie?
That is my masterpiece.
So you're proud of that one then, right?
I am so proud of that one. I love to show my poop.
Apparently. All right, so tomorrow night's election night. You got any thoughts on what's going to go on?
Well, of course, Trump 2020, baby.
I should have known you were a Trump supporter since you love pieces of shit, right?
Well, I am a fan of poop.
Fucking right-wingers and morons. All right, now after tonight, we've hashed it out here on the air. Are you still going to be commenting on my threads? Are you going to be following me over to other shows that I do?
Well, I am still kind of torn up about it. Brittany, I love you. Hold on.
Brittany, if you're listening right now, I want you to poop on this young man. He's really into it. Like, do it for me, please.
Brittany, do it for me.
Do it for him because it's what he wants. But like, it would really make me happy if you would fulfill this young boy's fantasy.
Just one poop.
But
it
now,
would do me for a lifetime.
But now, between you and I, like, we've hashed it out now. We've had this conversation. Do we have a truce? Do we have a mutual understanding here?
Well, I'm conflicted, Justin Freakin.
What are you conflicted about?
I feel like you owe me something.
Okay, what do I owe you that will get you to leave me alone?
I've got it.
What?
A picture of your poop.
You want a picture of my poop?
I'd love it. Now,
are you gonna like?
Mine.
No. I'm not into the poop. But now, if I send you a picture of my poop, you would enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna rub one out to it?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
Oh come on. You owe me, man.
So if I send you a picture of my poop, you'll leave me alone.
Oh, it'll be worth it.
Okay, Daniel. I will give you this. I've never done this before in my life. But tomorrow morning, because I usually have my movements of a morning, I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you.
Oh, yeah. That would be... Oh.
Don't get off yet, dude.
You have no idea how dreamed it is.
But that'll be my election day present to you, sir. And from here on out, you and I, we're on good terms, all right?
Oh, you got it. You got it, Justin Freakin.
All right, man. I am a man of my word. Tomorrow morning, I will send you my poop.
Hashtag poop.
Poop boy, thank you for joining me. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our audience before I cut you off?
Pro 2020, baby.
Got to root on those pieces of shit. All right, thank you for joining us, Poop Boy. We will talk to you later. And there you have it. Our interview with Poop Boy. That's exactly what everybody's been waiting on. Daniel, thank you for coming on the show. I'm glad we could finally hash it out. After weeks of you threatening me, trying to portray me as a child molester, sending me 1,500 pictures of poop, claiming I threatened your family. All I said was I was going to call your girlfriend on the air. If you didn't shut the fuck up, dude. You started every bit of this. Take your medicine like a man, motherfucker. All right. Now on to more pressing issues. We've got an election tomorrow. Yes, if you've not seen my interview with Old Gord, I won't call it a debate. He called it a debate. It was not a debate. That's up on the YouTube channel in the past clips. That one's incredibly interesting as well. Now, there is a group called ALEC. And whether you know what they are or not, they have been a pain in your ass for 15, 20 years now. The American Legislative Exchange Commission. One of those. If you've ever noticed a bunch of different red states passing bills that are similar, like abortion bills, they were written by ALEC. It's this think tank consortium of billionaire assholes. Alec Baldwin is an asshole too. And they've been writing these cookie cutter bills to try to get them through state legislatures. So here is video of them talking about their plans for the election tomorrow.
I can't believe I get the closing argument. But, you know, we've been focused on the national vote, and obviously we all want President Trump to win and win the national vote. But it's very clear from all the comments and all the suggestions up front that really when it comes down to is the states and the state legislators. And I think this is an action session where we're looking for what we can do. And I will say that at ALEC, which is the organization for the...
Now, when they say that, in every clip that we're going to watch about this going forward here, remember, Trump's own campaign expects him, before COVID, they were expecting Trump to lose by around 5 to 7 million votes, which checks out. As I've explained to other people, Biden doesn't have Hillary Clinton's... He doesn't have the 30 years of propaganda against him. He doesn't have all the misogyny going against him. And he's far more likable than she was. So if she was able to get like 3.5 million more votes than Trump, it stands to logic that fucking Biden would easily get 5 to 7 million more votes than Trump. I think that number is probably going to be between 7 and 10 million, to be honest with you. So what the Trump campaign is banking on is to try to steal the election through the courts, through intimidation, to stop the vote count. Because they know they can't win in a fair election. And this is twice in my fucking lifetime. Twice now. There's going to have to be a fucking landslide election to take the GOP out of power after they fucked up the country. Twice in my lifetime. Now, I'm not a Democrat. I'm very much an independent. But through this election cycle, I have come to the opinion that one of the reasons why the GOP is so strong is because their voters will vote for them no matter what. Even if they supposedly don't like the candidate, they'll hold their nose and vote for them. So from now on, I'm not voting for Joe Biden. I'm definitely not voting for Joe Biden in this election. I'm voting for Bernie Sanders to be the chairman of the banking committee. I'm voting, or possibly Bernie Sanders to be the labor secretary, possibly Elizabeth Warren to be the treasury secretary. That's what I'm voting for in this election. There is no way that Trump is going to win. And I'm getting ready to play you a bunch of videos about people that know they are not going to win an election fairly. These people are aware of it. So they're going to try to use some sort of political, bureaucratic machinations to stay in power. I'm not saying that Trump won't still be the president come January 21st. That's not what I'm saying. Trump does not win the election tomorrow. It is impossible. It is not happening. I would take that bet. I've showed the polls. I know what's going on. Trump loses tomorrow by a landslide, by between 5 and 10 million votes, for sure. Now, we might not know this until a couple weeks out. For sure, More people in this country are going to vote for Joe Biden in the millions. It's a given. That's why they're going to try to steal the election.
State legislators, we've already kind of looked at some of these things. I'm happy to say that we passed the election.
If Trump wins, I will go live naked the next time. Yes. You'll see my fur on my chest.
Electoral College model resolution and policy at ALEC to make sure there's no confusion among conservative legislators around national popular vote and Electoral College. In fact, Ray Haynes was an old ALEC chairman, so the very guy that's leading the national popular vote is kind of using the leverage of having been a conservative in California, and I know there are not a lot of those, to try to confuse legislators across the country. So an action item there on the Electoral College is to make sure that if you know your legislators in your state, which I hope you do, that you're communicating to them that you support the Electoral College, and that did you know that ALEC has a model policy on that.
You know what she's talking about, right? She's talking about them going against the will of the popular vote and appointing their own electors. Because that's a power that the state legislature has.
In terms of the process issues that I think Hans and Brad spoke about so eloquently, that's another thing that we're doing. We're working with Hans and Brad and Cleta Mitchell, who I know you all know, on trying to identify what are those action items that legislators can take in their states, and I think we've identified a few.
It is the American Legislative Exchange Committee.
Questioning the validity.
We're going to go over exactly what ALEC is here in just a second.
That night. So we are drafting a lot of those things. If you have ideas in that area, let us know, and we'll get those to the state legislators, and they can start to kind of exercise their political muscle in that area.
Thank you, Matt.
Can't believe
That's what she means. To subvert the will of the popular vote in the state and appoint their own slate of electors. That's actually constitutional. Amazingly enough. Through ALEC, global corporations are scheming to rewrite your rights and boost their revenue. Absolutely. Like with any right-wing propaganda, there's a name associated with it, and of course it's the fucking Koch brothers. Koch brother now, one of them's dead. Who funds ALEC? The Kochs. Every time some right-winger sends me some fucking opinion piece about why the EPA should be eliminated or why global warming isn't real, I look up the author and they work for the Koch brothers. Every fucking time. Me, as an independent media personality, I am up against a fucking $1 million, if not $1 billion worth of propaganda coming from a small handful of corporations and fucking asshole billionaires. Now, the Trump campaign has already been asking. I like weed too. If you've noticed, I haven't been smoking weed as much on the stream. And it's because I've watched myself back and realized I'm not as sharp when I'm fucking getting blasted on the bong when I start my show. So I'm going back to my my rule that I used to use for stand-up is that I would not smoke an hour before I went on stage. So I'm not going to smoke an hour before I do the show from now on. So I'm sorry. That's why we haven't been doing Reefer and a Rant lately. Because I get fucking blasted on the bong and just lose my train of thought halfway through what I'm saying. So, the Trump campaign is reportedly planning a way to bypass the 2020 election results in key states, such as Pennsylvania. The campaign has been looking into these arcane rules of being able to promote their own slate of electors. weighing a post-election strategy that would bypass the results in key swing states by installing electors who would vote for the president in the Electoral College, even if he loses. Because the states have the power to do it. The states he's looking at doing it in are Arizona, Florida, Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. I've thought about that because I have a really cool graphic for Reefer and a Rant. Breed Greed's seen it. So I don't really want to ditch it. So maybe I'll do Reefer and a Rant at the end of the show. That's possible. Now, beyond appointing their own electors, the GOP has been challenging the vote over and over again. This is the Pennsylvania ballot case. They've done it in North Carolina. They've done it in Texas. Today, a judge ruled against them in Texas because they were trying to throw out drive-through votes in Texas. Technically, it's not cheating because of the Electoral College. A state appointing its own slate of electors that goes against the popular vote is legal and constitutional. That's one of the reasons why progressives and people like me want to do away with the Electoral College. So they're trying to reject ballots. And that's another thing. I've said it over and over and over again. Well, yeah, Trump has gone full-blown fascist. Another dictator move is the fact that Trump has already said that he's going to fire the head of the FBI, the head of the CIA, and the Joint Chiefs for not investigating his political opponents. These are this head of the CIA, the FBI, the Joint Chiefs, they are all Trump appointees. And he's upset that they didn't go far enough in investigating Obama and Hillary, blah, blah, blah. So if Trump wins tomorrow, he isn't going to win. If he remains president on January the 21st, what he's going to do is fire all the heads of those agencies and put in somebody that is going to imprison Obama, Hillary, and fucking Adam Schiff, John Kerry. He's thrown out all kinds of names, journalists. It will be a fascist hellscape in this country if that man remains president. Remember, he will not win tomorrow. And that's one of the reasons why businesses are already boarding up. The White House has erected a giant fence. Now that obviously he's planning on doing something that's going to rile up the people, right? They're kind of expecting mass protests at the White House. I wonder why. Now this is from the Alex Jones show here. He had a pirate on the other day. But this is another way that they're going to try to depress the vote tomorrow is by intimidating voters.
Stuart Rhodes, thank you so much for coming on with us to cover the waterfront here.
Alex just had a big bowl of chili before he went on the air.
What we're headed for right now.
It's both mass gaslighting, like you were just talking about, but also mass projection. They're accusing us of doing everything that they're actually trying to do. For example, you have terrorists in the streets coercing Trump supporters, trying to stop them from getting into Trump rallies, beating them for even just walking around with a Trump t-shirt on. And of course, you expect them to do that on election day. And so when those of us...
And that's another thing. Are we wussies? Are we a violent mob? What is the left? Or is it whatever fits your fucking agenda at the time? I will tell you, my friends aren't wusses. We'll meet you in the streets, motherfucker.
Us who are tasked with defending your rights announce we're going to stand up and protect people on election day. They immediately spin that as though that we're the ones going to be going out there. Armed militiamen are going to be out on the streets on election day outside of polls to intimidate voters. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to be stealing the election while accusing Trump and his followers of stealing it. They'll be out there coercing and threatening people while accusing us of doing it.
And let's be clear, these are all classic fascist and communist tactics on record with the media saying Antifa doesn't exist. I mean, they're really making a run at this country.
Antifa is not an organization. It's not something you can call the head of and speak to somebody in HR, you dumb motherfucker. And what you're referring to is black bloc protesters. Black blocs are a tactic employed by people who are protesting a fascist government. You don't even know what Antifa is, but god damn it makes a good boogeyman, doesn't it? And just like Dan Crenshaw, I would like to piss in this motherfucker's eye hole.
How, Stuart Rhodes,
with defending your rights, announce we're going to stand up and protect people on election day. They immediately spin that as though that we're the ones going to be going out there. You know, armed militiamen are going to be out on the streets on election day outside of polls to intimidate voters. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to be stealing the election while accusing Trump and his followers of stealing it. They'll be out there coercing and threatening people while accusing us of doing it.
And let's be clear, these are all classic fascist and communist tactics on record with the media saying Antifa doesn't exist.
You know, I'm getting ready to play a bunch of videos of them doing exactly that, right? Oh, I guess that was the end of the video. My bad. In North Carolina over the weekend, Alex Jones never left, man. They just deplatformed him on YouTube and shit. You can go to whatever Prison Planet, whatever it is, his fucking website. You can watch his show. He just doesn't get as much attention since they deplatformed him from YouTube. So this was in Alamance County in North Carolina on Saturday, I believe it was. And this is a police department known for blatant racism.
Say what? Say what?
I want to point out that the Bush administration sent poll watchers to this county because of the known racism in the police department. The Bush administration, George W. Bush, sent poll watchers to this very county because of that police department. George W. Bush's administration.
As we have asked the city of Graham,
These are people marching to the polls to
to
vote.
assist us in closing these streets, to bring people to the polls. But before we get there, we're going to stop by here. Somebody say we're going to stop by here and have a conversation. We'll build our stage first. If you all will hang tight, y'all, if you have to, just party. The streets belong to us.
Clear the roadway. Clear the road. If you don't clear the roadway, you will be arrested. Move to your designated area. And this is what you do to us. This is why we march. Let's go. Let's go. Inside the nope.
Arresting a journalist.
You're under arrest. Let go of the camera.
You sprayed a kid out here. I did.
Pepper sprayed kids.
Yo, hey, sir, you dropped your safety.
You did drop your safety. That's actually.
You
Wow.
owe it to the people that come behind this generation. Every time we demand change, change comes. Don't give up. Do not give up.
Get back up. Medic! 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 What you do? They gonna He's spraying us in the face, dead ass with every spray.
I can't see!
We can walk in the east and to the west. This is your second warning.
We were willing to power off. You escalated this situation.
If you do not cease your unlawful behavior at the Alamance County Historic Courthouse and disperse peacefully, you will be arrested.
Full street. What do we want? When do we want it?
Now the gun he's holding is it shoots those pepper balls. It's their fucking right.
We're moving. Go.
I'm going.
Go.
I'm going.
Go.
Don't touch my camera.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Don't touch my camera. I'm not touching your stuff. Don't touch mine.
They won't need no more.
Now, one of the reasons why this video has gotten out is because David Frum, who worked in the Bush administration, one of his kids was there. The cops engaged them. You saw it. This is a free fucking country. Don't ever make excuses for the cops. Those people were marching in the streets, to their courthouse to vote. It is their right to demonstrate. It is their constitutional fucking right. And those cops violated their rights. Cops that are known to be racist. Remember, the George W. Bush administration sent poll watchers to that very county because they've been known to disenfranchise people. Look up Wilmington, North Carolina, or Wilmington, South Carolina, North Carolina. Look at the history of fucking racism. And we're going to go into the racism with the cops here in just a little bit. You're not going to fucking believe what the Kentucky State Police were teaching their troopers. Now here's Steve Bannon.
Taken off the table and
by the way, who has been indicted for fraud. The whole build the wall fucking scheme. Built Trump supporters out of millions. I do believe he's out on bond right now. But here he is on America's Voice. Because, you know, people facing felony fraud charges are the people that you want to bring on to talk about shit.
Pretty sure is the knockout blow of a Biden win on Tuesday night. Not going to happen. So you take that off the table, then you're in uncharted territories. President Trump's going to declare a victory on Tuesday night. Glad the mainstream media is finally catching up with that. You know why? Because
I've been saying this. We're not going to have returns on Tuesday night. Well, like, we're going to know like half the returns. I think Florida is the only battleground state that's already been counting their absentee and mail-in votes. Trump is going to declare victory at some point in time tomorrow night, probably around 11 o'clock, midnight, Eastern time. But he needs it to look like he's up at the time. That's their plan. The Wildcat.
because he's going to be in the lead. And then we're going to get into the counting rooms, right? We're going to get into the counting rooms. And people are now starting to ascertain.
He does kind of look like a toad.
Strategic advantage, not just in the counting rooms. We have a strategic advantage in the state legislatures, and we have a strategic advantage in the House of Representatives. So Democrats embrace the suck, okay?
That's what they're talking about. They're going to subvert the will of the people. Axios reported Sunday, I believe it was, Trump's plan to declare a premature victory. Describing plans to walk up to the podium on election night and declare that he has won. Of course, and that is the reason why they're erecting a fence around the White House. Because they're planning on mass protests happening. And the whole thing is they're trying to claim that mail-in ballots that are counted after Election Day won't count. That's what they keep talking about, flipping the election. There's no flipping the election. The election is not certified until all the ballots are counted. That's the way an election works. Now, over the weekend, a couple different things happened. The police, who are 100% backing Trump because they're fascist as fuck. We're going to go over that. You're not going to believe what the Kentucky State Police were teaching their cadets. The police stand by as caravans of Trump supporters block bridges and threaten counter-protesters. This is some of the pictures from the caravan. They don't look like the Taliban at all. Do you guys notice how Poop Boy showed up under one account, left, and then come back as this account, trying to act like it's not him? Fuck. God damn. Right-wingers are fucking morons. God, this is like every fascist fucking set of pictures throughout history. What the fuck is up with this guy? What a goofy looking bastard. So here's some of the footage. You know, the same people who are bitching about blocking roads.
We shut it down, baby. We shut it down. We shut it down. We shut it down.
Oh, did you see the dude's holding up his Trumpy bear? More violence from the fascist-ass police. I don't let people get away with that both sides fucking bullshit. It is not both fucking sides. Don't ever fucking say that. By the way, I can play you video after video of fucking Democrats that are fucking good. Katie Porter, Rashid Tlaib, Ariana Presley, AOC. Meanwhile, Republicans live in a fucking fantasy world. They don't accept reality or facts. Don't both sides me. Both sides aren't doing this shit. Both sides aren't fascist. Meanwhile, in Texas, the Biden campaign was going to hold a rally but had to cancel it.
I'm about to run out of gas, which I'm sure some of you would love.
After a caravan of Trump supporters surrounded his bus.
I'm about to run out of gas, which I'm sure some of you would love. Shit, look at
That's a Biden campaign staffer right there.
I'm about to run out of gas, which I'm sure some of you would love. Shit, look at that.
Now, right-wing media is trying to say, oh, well, clearly he's the one changing lanes. He's trying to hit the truck. No, clearly a bunch of fucking faggots, fascist faggots, were trying to surround the bus. Here's another angle. We got no sound on this one. So see? It's right behind the bus. Right there. It's trying to stay behind the bus. The bus attempts to switch lanes. That motherfucker pulled up beside him. He's trying to get back behind the bus. Not both sides. Show me where Democratic supporters are doing this to Trump. Trump's the one trying to kill his supporters. Left it, by the way, I don't know if I got to talk about it on Friday. Left them out in the cold again. I think that happened on Friday night. Trump held a rally in Pennsylvania, and twice now, the charter buses that were supposed to take his supporters back to their cars just left because Trump never pays his fucking bills. So the charter buses left, Trump supporters just left out in the fucking cold. Several of them had to seek medical help for hypothermia. Apparently, Ann Navarro got a little raw about this on The View earlier today. So we'll watch a little bit of this. You can give commentary on it, but you can't ever be as funny as the fucking joke. I want to say I was on a podcast. He makes a comment about a rat running into a wall. It's like you can't make jokes about the rat running into the wall. The rat running into the wall is the joke. So yeah, I don't know how to make fun of Trump, other than like funny pictures of him with his tongue hanging out. Like I can't do witty commentary about Trump. I can do like shit like this.
Trump dies of COVID watch.
That's funny, but like it's not as funny as Trump doing his best to give himself COVID. Shit. All right, now a few nights ago, we played a video of the cops just beating the fuck out of a family in Philadelphia. I said that I'd saw that people were saying that. Okay, let me find the picture here. The Fraternal Order of Police tweeted out a picture. This child was lost during the violent riots in Philadelphia, wandering around barefoot in an area that was experiencing complete lawlessness. The only thing this Philadelphia police officer cared about in that moment was protecting the child. We are not your enemy. We are the thin blue line. We are the only thing standing between order and anarchy. No. That was the child of the family that they pulled out of the SUV and beat the fuck out of. That has been confirmed now. Philadelphia police smashed windows of SUV carrying mom and baby in video, while Union claims the child was lost. Do they have the video? I played it the other night. So the Union has deleted the post. I don't have the video on hand, but I mean, it is extremely appalling. If you don't watch that video and get upset with the state of this country, then there is something fucking wrong with you. But hey, cops are fascists, and I'm going to prove it here in just a little bit, as if I haven't already on this show. Now, we've talked about the Breonna Taylor case in Louisville, Kentucky. Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly has filed a lawsuit against Kenneth Walker, who was Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, who fired one shot as a warning shot at people that he thought were intruders in his fucking house. Now, we played his interview with Good Morning America, countersuing Taylor's boyfriend, alleging battery, assault, and emotional distress. He is suing a man who saw his girlfriend, an innocent man who saw his girlfriend die next to him because of police negligence. And he's suing for emotional distress. These cops have no fucking shame. Meanwhile, not one, not two, but three of the grand jurors have come forward.
Third grand juror in the Breonna Taylor case has now come forward, according to our sister station Wave in Louisville. So far, grand jurors, some of them say that they feel Attorney General Daniel Cameron intentionally withheld evidence and information. They say they did not want more charges for more officers. This week, Taylor's mother requested a special prosecutor to review the case.
3 grand jurors now have come out and said that the process was rigged and that Attorney General Daniel Cameron has been participating in a cover-up. But hey, what do we expect? Especially in Kentucky, where the police have been trained using Hitler quotes. Andy Bashir on Friday reacted to reports of a previously removed state police training slideshow that appeared to quote Adolf Hitler 3 times and urged officers to be ruthless. One slide titled Violence of Action instructed officers to be ruthless killers and have a mindset void of emotion, to meet violence with greater violence. Included a line from Hitler's Mein Kampf. The quotes are used for their content and relevance to the topic addressed in the presentation. That's what a KSP spokesperson said. Now, I said the commissioner of the Kentucky State Police stepped down. I saw that just as we were coming on the air. This is breaking news. All of those topics go to the fundamentals of law enforcement, such as treating everyone equally, service to the public, and being guided by the law. All right, so now, one of the most prolific propaganda outlets on the right is a organization called Young Americans for Liberty. This is Cliff Maloney. He's their president, chairperson, whatever the fuck they call him, whatever his title is. He's like the head of Young Americans for
today
Liberty.
We're knocking doors, another battleground state.
Now, this video is called Watch Out for Tyrants. So let's see if he's pointing out the tyrants that I've been going over in this video.
Here on the road because today we're knocking doors, another battleground state, and we're going to be doing this through the entire election. One of the things that I'm really, really appreciative of is the entire YAL staff, the national headquarters staff. Everybody left Austin, and we went out in the field. to knock in different battleground states across the country. And so I always tell people that, you know, look, you can talk all you want, but when it comes time, you know, the AL National staff, we practice what we preach. And that means getting out there and talking to voters directly and getting our candidates across the finish line. So I believe in servant leadership. That's why we're out here. And it's going to make the difference. So I'm excited about it.
So, like, okay. So he's telling tyrants to watch out, and then he's going to help people to vote. Is he driving his stupid ass to North Carolina, where we watch the cops beat the shit out of people trying to vote? That seems like tyrants to me, right? Let's see what else this dumb fuck's got to say. Now, I want to point out, like...
Liberty, with Young Americans for Liberty. I just drove...
He looks like a cartoon character. Like, that's like... He's like SpongeBob. He's square. What the fuck is going on here? Like, I'm not the only one seeing this, right? The motherfucker, like... This is the real-life SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay, I'm in Florida, knocking doors for liberty with Young Americans for Liberty. I just drove down the street past people on this side of the street with Biden flags and signs hollering at people on this side of the street with Trump signs and flags. I understand people are...
Ooh! Were they trying to run people off the road? Were they assaulting them? Or were they just being loud?
Energetic, they're excited, but be effective in your outreach. One of the things we strive to do at Operation Win at the Door is put a team of people on the ground and engage with voters, talk to people that are going to impact the election. And if you want to make a difference, that's the one piece of free advice I'd give you. Focus on something that's impactful and effective. Get a piece of literature. Figure out who you want to target and talk to. Have conversations with voters. Voters decide the laws that we live under because they elect the politicians. I'm not here to endorse the system, but if there's a system in place and you believe in a set of principles and you believe in a set of ideas, you owe it to your ideas to learn how to be effective. That's what we do at Young Americans for Liberty. Just free advice for everybody.
It's not technically free. There's a lot of right-wing organizations that have given a lot of money to Young Americans for Liberty. All right. This video is called Truth 2030. The truth that you are a slave to the 1%. Interesting. Sounds like some Occupy Bernie Sanders kind of shit. So let's see if they correctly identify the problems that we're facing. This is... Strap in, guys. I don't know how far we'll get into this one. It's 17 minutes long, but we might not be able to take all of this. God damn.
Hello friends, what I'm about to share with you will be affirming for some and shocking for others. As many of you know, I've been extremely dedicated to investigating what has been happening in the world.
Shoot, thank God their mix was way off there.
I understand why so many things have not made sense to so many of us. I've researched everything daily to look for answers and to educate myself. I've uncovered many things. What I'm sharing with you today is the biggest thing I have uncovered that proves COVID was planned and executed. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is an actual planned conspiracy. These are straight up facts right from the website of the people who planned this. It is right on the web in plain sight. But most people don't know it's even there, and most people probably won't understand the depth of it unless someone breaks it down for you, which I will try.
All right, break it down for us.
I feel my duty is to share what I have learned. I'm going to try and keep this simple. Take out any of my opinions, take out my emotions, and just stick to the facts, which is what is happening in our world and has been planned for decades. As we know, many inconsistencies have been coming out about COVID. tainted tests, falsified numbers, manipulated stats, doctors and scientists speaking out, lockdowns that don't make sense, predicted numbers totally.
It's a whole bunch of bullshit right there. There's a lot to break down. So it's a novel virus. We didn't exactly know how it would behave at the beginning. So I wouldn't call it a lot of misinformation. I would call it recommendations changing as new information is incorporated. There's not been any reputable doctors speak the fuck out. You might have got some people in lab coats that are fucking like a pediatrician or something. You haven't got any epidemiologists speaking out, other than to say that the administration's response has been horrendous.
Wrong. We are all aware it is also questionable how the virus originated. It is, however, evident 100% that there is a virus of some sort, and it is still a mystery who gets affected, who dies, and who doesn't. Although many of us in the health profession have theories about why this happens, this is not being disputed. Imagine if everything...
Us in the health profession, trying to give themselves a false credibility.
We thought we saw was not true. Imagine if we have been deceived and the media and the government convince you to think and feel in a certain way. Something to ponder for sure. But what I'd like to stick to the facts today. Everything I found here took me about 24 hours to research. I've been reading non-stop to figure this all out. Here are key points found in my research. Agenda 21, created in 1992, has been carried out by NGOs funded by foreign countries and groups.
Agenda 21 is a tired trope that the fucking conspiracy theorists haul out all the fucking time.
Like the Open Society Foundation.
Ooh, and George Soros. We're like fucking, where's producer Dave from Echoplex Media? We're playing conspiracy bingo in here. We're gonna hit them all.
George Soros's and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. One major objective of Agenda 21 initiative is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. Since 2015, Sustainable Development Goals are included in the newer Agenda 2030. The official name is the UN Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development.
Ooh, sounds nefarious.
Agenda 21 programs in your local city or town. Go to your search engine, put in Agenda 21 and your city name, and you should be able to find a lot of the actual programs with Agenda 21. The United Nations Agenda 2030, adopted in 2015 and fiercely promoted and funded by the Gates Foundation, consists of 17 Sustainable Development Goals. It's also called...
Has any of this sounded, other than the scary music, has any of this sounded like it's not on the level?
The Green New Deal, to be achieved by the year 2030. Soros and Rockefellers are also funders here. Gates is also the largest private donor to the World Health Organization, which is a UN agency. Here is a list of the government entities and organizations where Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is listed as a partner. Okay, let's set the stage. Back in New York, USA,
Well, it's a lot better than the Koch brothers just funding misinformation constantly. You mean Bill Gates is putting his money towards something helpful? Good. After all the shit he did in the 90s and early 2000s, he probably should feel guilty and use a little bit of that wealth he created towards helping the planet.
June 13th, 2019, the World Economic Forum and the United Nations signed today a strategic partnership framework outlining the areas of cooperation to deepen institutional engagement and jointly accelerate the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. On the surface, that looks very good. It looks beautiful and amazing. It looks like everything we've ever dreamed of, right? But it was more than meets the eye, and one dissected reveals...
Put some ominous music under it and be like, yeah, there's more than meets the eye, and it seems kind of... seems kind of crazy.
Global government takeover of every nation across the planet, dismantling sovereignty, property rights, privacy, food systems, and more. The document reveals code words for a corporate government fascist agenda fueled by globalist corporations like Monsanto and DuPont. If you read through all this information and would like to discuss the pros and cons with me, I'm all for it. But today, I would like to stick to the facts, not opinions. Okay, next step.
Let's hear them. Where's these facts at?
The World Economic Forum was created to support Agenda 21, now called Agenda 2030. It was created in 1971, 49 years ago. Bill Gates is attached to both parties, the UN and also the World Economic Forum. In 2018, the World Economic Forum states, the multi-stakeholder approach defines the core of the 2030 Agenda and Sustainable Development Goals. We are all in this together. Wait a minute, does that sound familiar? Have we not heard this phrase being said over and over and over again since COVID started? We are all in this together.
Yeah, by stupid commercials, people that write ad copy, there's only so many phrases you can say. As someone who makes commercials and has done like the promos of reopening for COVID, like there's only so many phrases I can put in that shit, and every goddamn company is wanting a promo about how they're responding to COVID. So you get like, in these trying times, we're all in this together, blah, 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 blah. Trite fucking overused catchphrases in marketing.
This is not a coincidence. On the surface, the website looks amazing, stunning, beautiful. All the words and mission statements we want to hear. It is an action plan to support and implement the UN Agenda 2030 for sustainable development. I implore you to sign up for alerts from this site. This way you can see the entire plan for global governance. What does that mean? It means the new world order where there is no borders, only one government.
Like, you know she's religious, right? All these conspiracy nut jobs are. It's all about the new world order. Bree Creed, you still in here? Survey says.
Government and only one world. That's what this whole action plan and site is for. It is an extremely mind-blowing, comprehensive plan to change our entire world as we know it. Once you start going into this very in-depth website, you will notice many, many things. When you click on one link, there are...
We're 6 minutes into this.
When you dig deeper, there are more than 200 links per tentacle. It is never ending. It just keeps going, and everything is connected. Why? Because it is an entire comprehensive, meticulous plan for changing our entire world. No detail has not been addressed. I have literally already spent 24 hours on this site researching, and I barely scratched the surface. And it all starts with the COVID page.
Researching
starts the journey of world globalization.
Survey says
what you will see is that it's impossible for this crisis to be made only in the last 6 months. The sections on global governance and the fourth industrial revolution have been planned out for decades. One world, one government, no borders. The plan is for one government to have complete control of all of us. Artificial intelligence controlling our business, our food.
No, I don't think that's it at all. I think it's organizations like the UN. Okay, member states to the UN tend to not fucking declare war on each other. So having these international treaties are a good thing. Countries that trade with each other tend not to go to war. I don't think there's anything in these documents about giving up sovereignty. More like agreeing to something like the EU or the Eurozone, which was supposed to happen here in the US. If you guys don't know about it, we were supposed to, with the US, with Canada and Mexico, we're going to create the Eurozone that would have a currency that you could use. You could cross the borders openly, and you'd have a currency you could use in all the countries. That's not a bad thing in a interconnected global society. But hey, if you've got an ancient book that tells you that a one world government is bad, you're probably going to come up with some batshit crazy stuff to try to fight it.
Privacy and our freedom is to be abolished forever. I'm not going to argue if it's good or bad because I know many of you will say it's good for the world. I mean, it has certainly been created under the guise of helping to eradicate the world's problems, particularly issues with climate. Discussing the merits, pros, and cons.
Yes, issues with climate need to be addressed by all countries on the planet. And one of the things that I will point to that the World Health Organization has done, like things like eradicate polio, that takes an interconnected effort worldwide in order to do. I'm for that. I am for eradicating polio.
Cons of this is for another conversation. Today I want to just stick to the facts. The global governance has been...
I keep saying that, but what facts have you... So far, the facts is that there's a website that has a detailed plan and that there's a lot of information on it. That's the facts you've given us thus far, ma'am. So please, continue.
Planned. And if you go through this WeForum site very carefully, you will see it all for yourself. To be honest, it's somewhat fascinating. Years and years and years of elite...
Now, that's a rhetorical trick right-wingers are very fond of. Remember when, earlier in the year when we were doing impeachment? Yes, I sprung that on someone the other day and said, you know, impeachment was this year, right? It was in January. That's how we started the year off. But when the impeachment was going on, all the right-wingers are like, well, did you read the transcript? And I was like, yes. And then I would reply back with a picture of the transcript with my highlighted sections like, yes, this is the part that's problematic. Them saying research is the exact same thing. It's just a rhetorical trick. Oh, I did my research. No, you fucking didn't.
Mastermind plotting and planning on how to take over the world come together on this one website. COVID is just the first step to get the ball rolling and a way to release all these plans can strive for world domination. A scared and divided world is easy to dominate. Crushing the economy and installing fear-based reactions is how you get an entire world to behave and start from scratch. All of the data and all of the videos throughout the site are updated daily. Supporting propaganda is published and released daily, written by those determined to take over the world and all 7.7 billion inhabitants. You have to be able to understand their feel-good language and read between the lines to know what is really being said. I have had to reread some things 10 times to truly understand what the bottom line was, or also to truly understand what they were...
Can we have an example? Give us an example of something reread 10 times and then come to a conclusion on. Because I would like to evaluate it for myself. That's never going to happen.
Not addressing. Also, when you go through the site, note how every single topic and circle is actually designed to look like a corona. This is not coincidence. This is because every single topic starts with the coronavirus and COVID. Look at then the subtopics. Remember, each subtopic has 200 plus more levels to go through. You do the math. Here are some screenshots to highlight key terms. Global governance means one government. Notice how they even wrote on the first line that nationalist backlash has made this difficult. That's the revolt by those who are awakening. You can blatantly see how this one government system affects all other topics and tentacles, and each topic goes down 200 levels. Look closely and you will see the interaction with 5G, anti-globalism, the Great Reset, transnational actors, civic participation.
So now we're going to use just a bunch of scary buzzwords that make idiot-ass right-wingers cream their pants. I had a boss one time. He was an engineer. And he was telling me about the dangers of 5G. And I'm like looking at him. What? Like, because it sounded like a crazy conspiracy theory. Now, I found out later that he was religious. And I'm like, okay. It all makes sense now. And also, engineers are the number one profession most likely to be a terrorist. I found that out later as well, so you can look that up. It is true. So while the man is really good at designing AV systems, he was a little batshit.
Participation, artificial intelligence, robotics, human cyborgs, and on and on. Question: if global governance is so good...
That was the same boss who one day told me I looked like a pirate, and I stopped him, and I'm like, do you really think I look like a fucking pirate? I say with my Fu Manchu, my bandana on, my long hair.
Why do they have to lie to us about it? I mean, if it is truly for the greater good of the
What did they lie about?
Is there a better way of doing this than to cause death, pain, and destruction?
Whoa. We jumped from, hey, I've got this circle and there's a whole bunch of information on it, to now they're lying to us. Where was this lie at?
They're lying now. What else will they be lying about? The complexities of this website are mind-blowing and nefarious. The Fourth Industrial Revolution and the Great Reset. Know these terms. They are the plan for the next step after COVID has ground the world to a halt. This is the plan. Here's a quote directly from their website. Using COVID to harness the power of revolution to change the economy. Characterized by a fusion of technologies that is blurring the lines between the physical, digital, and biological.
Now, there is a Vice documentary called The Third Industrial Revolution. I highly encourage you to go watch it. Now, it's talking about part of what she's referring to and getting completely wrong. If you watch that movie, you'll be like, those are really good ideas. We really need to implement those.
Spheres. In its most pessimistic, dehumanized form, the Fourth Industrial Revolution may indeed have the potential to robotize humanity and thus to deprive us of our heart and soul. The Fourth Industrial Revolution will change not only what we do, but also who we are. It will affect our identity and all the issues associated with it. Our sense of privacy, our notions of ownership, our consumption patterns, the time we devote to work and leisure, and how we develop our careers, cultivate our skills, meet people, and nurture relationships. It is already changing our health and leading to a quantified self, and sooner than we think, it may lead to human augmentation.
Now, that's one of the best example I can give you about this. And like, I used to be very protective of my data. I just recently, like my home's a smart home. I can like, hey Google, turn my lights red. Oh, it didn't do it. Well, anyway, I've got there we go. So I've got the smart home going on now, and I was always really apprehensive about that. But one of the ways that we're going to be able to advance as a society is we're going to have to give up our data. Now, I would like some protections. I would like to be able to own my data and get something in return for it. But that's going to have to be done through legislation. But the best example I can give you of this is GPS. So 15 years ago, as someone who used to travel, I can tell you that GPS sucked. I would be riding down a road and tell me to turn somewhere, and then there's not even a fucking road there. 15 years later, it can tell you to the fucking second how long you'll be stuck in traffic. And the reason it's able to do that is because everybody else is feeding their data back up into the system. So one of the ways that we're going to be able to deal with pandemics in the future is we're all going to be hooked up, giving our health data into a system. It's going to be able to recognize pandemics. It's going to be able to recognize community spread. That's really cool in my opinion. But now there needs to be guardrails in place. That's why I am such a proponent of democracy. As we move into this new technology phase, it needs to be democratic so that we, the people, have control over it, not some fucking heartless corporation. That's why I want more democracy, not less. Nanomachines. I can't do it, guys. I'm done with this video. I can't watch any more of this bullshit. All right. Before we wrap up, I have kind of a fun story. Let's do that. If Pumpkin's still in the stream, she will enjoy this story. A well sculpture catches a metro train. Now I'm fucking dumbfounded by how this happened. Because, like, how did the train... I like, where's the rail going to? I don't understand how it went over the rail there. But a well sculpture, got it. The driver, I don't think it had people in it. Near the city of Rotterdam, crashed through a barrier at the end of the track shortly before midnight on Sunday. Delicately balanced on a large sculpture of a whale's tail. Yeah, it was an empty train, and the driver was able to get himself out. He was surprised that the structure did not break. Yeah, that's a... I guess it's because it's like the railing is still kind of holding it up, so it didn't have the full weight of the train on it. Or the metro car. It looks like a hell of a sturdy sculpture, too. Well, I realize that rails end, but like... Did he mean to go forward and put it in reverse or some shit? Like, I don't understand how that happened. But I thought that was a neat story, and I had it. All right, tomorrow's the big day. I encourage everyone, if you haven't got out to vote, go ahead, go vote. I will be there first thing in the morning at the polls. Sparkles has told me I'm not allowed to wear right-wingers or morons. I'm not allowed to wear fuck Nazis. I'm not allowed to wear the government protecting or serving the shit out of you. She does not want me to wear any of my politically oriented t-shirts to the polls tomorrow because she's afraid of all the violence right-wingers are going to cause. But you know me. Fuck that, I won't do what you tell me. We will be back here tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, unless I'm still in line. I'm going to be there first thing in the morning. Unless I'm still in line or something. I don't think so, though, because I live in kind of a bougie area. So I'm assuming I'll be in and out. You know, if I lived in the ghetto, I'd probably have a lot harder time voting. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. We'll be going all night long until 6 a.m. or until a winner is declared. That is not likely to happen. Trump is probably going to declare himself the winner while we're on air. I actually have a really cool setup. We're going to have data on one screen. We're going to have... I haven't decided which network. We may go between several of them. We may do C-SPAN. We may do Fox News. We may do OAN. Who fucking knows? I'll have a few different news outlets we'll be watching. But I'll also have probably the New York Times or 538's data above it. So we will see the count in real time while we're watching right-wingers be stupid. So go ahead, especially tonight, because you're going to need it. Light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We'll see you tomorrow night for a wild